Hello, I'm in Mushroom, this is Mushroom Games, and today we need a lot of mushrooms because we need to fly. Because, of course, if you're going to fly in Skyblock, you have to mix together a number of mushrooms and some magical potion ingredients, and then you will be for a very short duration of time. And if you're going to be constructing something out over an uncaring void, it would probably help to be able to. And I don't know exactly how much we're going to need, so I'll probably just go overboard on it. I mean, honestly, if we get too much, we can just dedicate it to a talisman later on. Because, of course, you always need more talismans. This is Skyblock we're talking about. Or at least Hypixel Skyblock. Some varieties are a bit more peaceful. In other news, today probably upgrading more minions and looking into getting more compactors, so we'll probably need to actually start upgrading our original cobblestone minion, because compactors use a lot of cobblestone. Typically, I believe, of the enchanted variety, which I have very little of, and I have very low capability of producing it, because, again, my minions have not been upgraded in quite some time in that area. I have lots of iron, I have quite a lot of quartz, but no cobble. I mined a lot to begin with, but then I used it all. And beyond that, I don't know. By the end of this, we'll have a farm from which we can grow enough sugarcane to probably make all the books we'll ever need, which I intend to probably just dedicate to actually enchanting my own items, although at some point, should it be economically viable, I may well start selling either ingredients or finished books, because some of the higher level collection books can be quite a pain to get. Like, I could probably sell one of the high-end gravel enchantment books, First Strike, I believe, or maybe it's Diamond. One of those two collections has a lot of good books for melee combat. I could probably sell that on the auction house if I needed to. Or, of course, I could just make enchanted bookshelves, because those are probably very cool. I mean, definitely they're very cool, because they serve as 15. But you might be able to sell them, too, which is even cooler, because having cool stuff is cool. But having the ability to make cool stuff, and then make lots of in-game currency from selling it, that is very cool. Anyhow, though, there's really not much left to do other than actually start building the thing. So, let's get right to it. Thanks. Step 1 for building a farm: get whatever resources you may need from the builder, because it's prohibitively expensive just to craft your own glass, really, because sand hurts to get unless you already have a minion, but it hurts to get there. So, buy glass if you need windows, and then, of course, it pays to think about illumination. And yes, I do really consider sea lanterns to be a little bit stylistically preferable for farms, but if you're using your oak log format at a relatively small scale, it might be preferable just to use the glowstone you already have on hand, and wait for the sea lanterns until you're making large, expansive quartz block farms at the bottom of your map, because, of course, the sea lantern and quartz, stylistically, I feel like it melds a bit better than either sea lanterns and oak or glowstone and quartz. In any event, after our somewhat superfluous extended topic, it is important to check how much glowstone dust you actually have, lest you find yourself halfway through some construction or crafting process, and realize that you need to venture back off to the Blazing Fortress in order to get enough light sources, because that would really be quite embarrassing. Unless you like that sort of thing, then it might not be, but in any event, it will probably delay your progress, you'll lose your train of thought, and that's really never a good thing. And then, of course, the very interesting topic of making a soup so potent that you learn how to fly. Not forever, mind you, just about 2 minutes in this variety, but there is also a more potent variety that gives you quite a great deal of time. And it's just redstone, glowstone, mushroom, and brown mushroom. Red mushroom, not just plain mushroom. And then, of course, the other part, you actually have to have a bowl, because if you just make freestanding soup, it's kind of hazardous. But also it pays to remember that Hypixel related crafting recipes are a little bit more specific. Like most Minecraft recipes, you can kind of face it different ways and it still works out, but no, when you're doing custom crafting in a server without modifications, not moderators, it has moderators, it's important to align everything correctly, or else it might just misbehave, and then you end up with nothing and or sadness. Neither of which is a particularly good thing to have. But now, of course, we can fly, and that's pretty cool, if I do say so myself. So we just head out here, get out the wood we're looking to build with, and, well, get ready to go. Take a last look at your bearings, and of course, remember that it's probably unwise to try to fly with 20,000 coins in your bank. But, no matter. Let's leave a little bit of gap in from the outermost area so that glass placement can work out later on. And then, on with building. Alright, and now with a set length for our downward posts, doing a 3 deep closed off log section to cover up all of the less visually pleasing elements such as dirt or sand or whatever we so choose to use, and leaving open an area in which we can place glass at a later date, or at least later on today even, where we can see the sugarcane itself growing, and in working our way across, setting out the rough foundations of this construction. And now, as we get started with actually putting the flooring into this new farm, a quick shout out to both the zombie that appears in our right side of the screen right now, and the legs of the armor stand that makes up my carpentry bench, both of which are very, very influential members of this construction. And of course to my flying speed greatly outpacing my ability to place blocks, causing me to bounce back and forth like a deranged version of one of those ball games where it's the ball on a stick. I don't know what it's called. Would be much more eloquent if I did, but I do not. And once we cover everything over, then we'll have to deal with the fact that there's no longer light coming in the bottom, and we are in a dreadfully dark box in a world where undead creatures roam the earth. So, it pays to keep that in mind, too. Alright, and now, of course, that we've gotten the floor done, then comes the time of replacing your light sources down into the floor to avoid, clogging up the useful bits where you need to put sand or water later on, because of course the layer above this is where that's going to end up. And I will admit that in my initial plans for this I did not factor in sand gravity, and I was planning to put water underneath everything, then have the sand on a layer parallel with the top of the planks, and hello Mr. Armorstand's feet, but that won't work and I don't want to plant it on grass, so one must do what one must do, I suppose. And then, of course, it comes time to put in the windows, and, of course, forgetting the ever-present issue that the block on a line with your foot can't easily be placed if the only contacted block is from above, and so, of course, short-lived wood planks make their debut in this construction. And then on to window the entire square of this area. And now, of course, putting in the entryway, because as of right now, there's quite a gap between the doorway to our prospective farm and the path to our primary storage area. And, of course, jumping up is infeasible, although jumping down is not. And so, of course, a double staircase, possibly wanting for a guardrail, will of course be employed. Now we can get back down more easily, and then an immediate secondary to that in a similar mode being to add any final furnishings we want to the inside of this area before we begin the process of cultivation, which of course, in its multiple steps, the soil, the water, and then the crop. Final stages, illumination herein, as we see from just beyond the door. And then, in just a moment, beginning to make the roadways, or at least paths, the scale does not quite agree with the term roadway, built off of this first step by which I currently stand, and upon which we will be able to navigate our sugarcane farm much better than we might otherwise. Of course, illuminate your step, take a step up. You can't put a light above yourself there because, of course, you'll bump your head. And then, of course, the matter of whether or not your first step should be narrow or wide, and, in my opinion, a wider step fits more appropriately. And then, the simple process of replicating this pathway several times with a landing in the middle forecasted. And now on to the placement of sand, in this case sourced from the bazaar, because again it is extreme pain to harvest it. I actually don't know how, but in searching the wiki, I ascertained that it is a painful process to undertake. And of course, as sugarcane needs to be in direct contact with a water block, one row here is advantageous to avoid an outer row exclusively of water, but then you must, of course, skip a row, lest you render one area completely infertile, replicating this outer row all the way around, being your next step, and, of course, some corners in this construction, especially in that outermost, being infertile exclusively because, through the nature of diagonals in Minecraft, it does not count as an adjacent block, and then, of course, there is no water for which from which your sugarcane may, what's the word? Drink. Do plants drink? I don't know. At any rate, after finishing this first border row, and then remembering what we know about how sugarcane behaves, after a row of water, you can, of course, make a 2 sand thick section, or at least as far as I have looked into it, that appears to be the optimal pursuit, because both sides of it can contact water, although there will likely be an inner corner that is infertile, again because diagonals are rude in this game. And then, of course, the process of replicating it around the entire structure, which is somewhat less jubilant than the previous. And then, at long last, the second to last matter at hand, that being to fill in all of the water necessary to grow your sugar canes. And of course, after that, the only thing left at hand is to, of course, plant the sugar cane. But I will point out that at the time I placed this water, I did not yet have enough sugar cane to do so. And the funny thing of making a farm to avoid having to go to a public island to gather a resource is that you must first spend a great deal of time on said public island, gathering said resource to make the farm feasible. But with roughly 5 infertile blocks per sector out of 4 sectors, I believe the efficiency of this farm will eventually outweigh that expenditure. And here we are again. I'm sincerely hoping that build progression didn't come out too much like a dissertation. I added the rail I was thinking about here and here, and our sugarcane farm is flourishing, and I've already in fact harvested it a number of times. And so, among other things, that is now mycelium. I created that mushroom with bone meal. I did not mean to, I just meant to make more mushrooms, but it kind of looks cool. I traded for the mycelium with mushrooms and dirt. I have all of this sugarcane now. And personally, the next thing I would like to deal with would be the upgrading of a number of minions. First of all, just getting rid of all of this surplus quartz by dedicating it to a minion, and then collecting from my full compactor minion for iron, and among other things, well, perhaps doing as I planned earlier on, and investing in some cobble minions to make more compactors, because the current refill rate is killing me. That is what it's doing. It is making me no longer alive. And income would be better than death, in my opinion anyway. And so, yeah. Hello, how much do you need now? You need 24 in total. Okay, that's a hole I just fell in. And that's a rock. That's my pet rock. He's very nice. But that's all the quartz upgrade we can afford. That would be 2 quartz upgrades in point of fact, unless I cannot count, which is not completely out of the question. And, in other news, a diamond minion. And, I'm pretty sure there's a way to quick stack out of a chest, like multiple stacks of something, but I do not know how. And if I need one more stack than I have, I would be quite upset, but I don't know. And I'm looking into diamonds because even though there's not as much of a difference observably to me right now, I have been informed that diamonds can sometimes be far more efficient than iron in terms of generating an income. And tier 5 diamond minion, we only need 8 more unique minions for a 10th slot, and we are not actually optimizing our slot usage very well. We could probably expand that area, but that wall over there is the side world limit, and beyond that, I don't really remember how exactly I went about creating the build, and I'm kinda scared that I won't be able to do it again. Anyhow, let's get that just to a half stack. Just, there we go. And now, on picking up a great deal of iron as fast as humanly possible without losing your mind. And that's a very shrill noise. I'm sorry if it's also shrill for you, but it's shrill for me, and I don't know what setting that's attached to, so I can't adjust it. Anyway, lots of iron. I hope we don't need any plain iron, and I don't know if I should save any of this, but not needing as much right now, and having a surplus of money, I think it would probably be useful to put a lot into upgrades just as fast as possible so that the next time we need it, we can. And what's that? That's funny. After all of the work we put into it in the past, it's kind of unnerving to see it just be in your quick crafting sidebar. Hey, would you like more golem armor? No, I would not. I don't need any more. I'm already wearing this, and it's fierce. Hi. Do I want to upgrade to tier 7? Yeah. But would it be a good idea? I don't know. Let's see. What would be better? Should we upgrade everything? Or one thing a lot? Huh. I don't know. Goodness me. That's really kind of a matter of contention, because we could probably upgrade everything to tier 5 right now, but then could we afford the other thing as well? I don't know. Okay, there's a tier 5. There's another one. Okay, yeah, we can probably afford all of this. There's another one, just for 8 each. We are upgrading our infrastructure massively. And if it's 2 stacks we need for that one, we can afford it. If it's 2.5, no. Alright, hello again. Can we still afford a tier 7? Hello? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Okay, can we afford a tier 6 here? Yes. Can we also afford one here? I hope so. Yeah. Can we afford one over here? Yeah. We probably can't afford one on those two, but now our income will probably be very much higher at the expense of a one-time income loss. And now, of course, onto the last item of import today, compactors. Hello, compactor. What do we need for you? We need lots of enchanted cobblestone and some enchanted redstone. And, here's the deal. I don't have much of those things, as far as I know. Hey, Cobblestone Minion 5. Oh, I upgraded you a lot, actually. I'm sorry. I was not aware that I had upgraded you so much. And I have been, insinuating that I did not have good cobble infrastructure, when in fact I did. Although I could have sworn I didn't mind that much, so I don't know. I guess somebody donated me cobble, but that seems kind of illogical. Maybe I just have weird memory. That's actually probably exactly what happened. Actually, probably exactly. That's kind of sad. Anyhow, what's the recipe for this again? Is it this? I don't know. What do we need? Hello? Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness me. So there's the issue. This is gonna take a bit more work on the infrastructure side of things, just because I have not yet mined enough redstone for this to even be possible. But, just to make sure I don't get, in any predicaments, I'm gonna step over to this little tier 5 and pick him up. Hello, little tier 5. I don't believe we'll be needing your services any longer, or at least for now. But we'll probably need you again, because someday we're going to want some high-end hoppers, and high-end hoppers take a lot of iron. And so now let's place you there, let's place you there, and hello, you're back in action, thank you very much. And now, our little cobble war engine is back. He was last over there, where he spontaneously generated on the creation of this world. That's an auto smelter, I don't want that there. And the amount of iron we've put into upgrading our minions is somewhat unnerving. In other news, we have fuel, but I don't know how best to use it, so I'm just not. But, at any rate, I believe that is everything that could bear discussing for today. We've upgraded our island's aesthetic, our island's book capability through our first traditional farm, which will of course pave the way towards better strategies for making future farms. And we have considerably upgraded our minion capacity. I hope you have a very good day, and I hope to see you again. Goodbye.